Welcome to Storytime Fun, boys and girls. We hope you enjoy. Today's story is out of the Walt Disney's Storyland book. And today is part 2 of Sleeping Beauty. So this is where we left off yesterday, and we'll start right here. In a clearing in the forest not far away was a handsome young man who stopped to rest. He was none other than Prince Philip, son and heir of King Hubert of the kingdom nearby. It was a warm day, and Prince Philip had wandered far from his company. He slipped off his cloak as he rested beneath a tree to let the soft breeze cool his brow. In the branches above, Prince Philip frolicked some birds who had heard Briar Rose's sad sigh. Perhaps this young man was what their friend needed to bring back their smiles, they thought. So down swooped the birds, plucked up the cloak, and flew off with it to the Princess Aurora, or Briar Rose. The cloak, as the birds swooped and dipped with it, seemed to dance along in the breeze. When Briar Rose saw it, her feet began to dance too, and soon she was twirling happily with the empty cloak for a dancing partner. Meanwhile, Prince Philip had been following his cloak as the birds made off with it. They led him to the dancing little maiden in the woods. At first sight, he fell in love with Briar Rose. Silently, Prince Philip stepped closer to her until he could slip into his own cloak as it came twirling by. What a surprise for Briar Rose! Here were all her dreams come true. Now the love which had taken root in the prince's heart took root in her own too. "How has it happened that we have never met?" Prince Philip demanded when the dance was done. "I live very quietly here in the woods," Briar Rose explained, "with my 3 dear aunts. We go nowhere and we meet no one. And it's not so surprising that we have not met, as that you should happen along today, just as I was dreaming of something nice." "It was my good fortune that brought me this way," Prince Philip told her, thinking that she was a simple peasant girl. He knew he must not spoil her joy by telling her that he would one day be a king. "Let us meet here again tomorrow," he begged, and Briar Rose agreed to meet him in the woods. Tomorrow, though, Briar Rose, little dreamed it, was to be her 16th birthday, and the end of the spell which had hung over her whole life. If she little dreamed it, it was still uppermost in the minds of the 3 good fairies. "Only to think," they kept saying with deep sighs, "that this is the last night dear Briar Rose will be at home with us here." "We must do something special," said Fauna, fussing busily about. "We must decorate the cottage for this happy event." "Oh, I agree," twittered Merryweather. But Flora, the sensible one, was not sure. "It would be safer to wait until tomorrow," she warned. "Wait until the danger is over before you celebrate." "Oh, Flora, you spoil everything," Fauna wailed. "Then Briar Rose will be leaving us, and then she will have no time to celebrate here." "You must do something little thing tonight," Merryweather agreed. And the 2 of them bustled busily about with paper and streamers and bows and flowers and the such. "Ouch!" cried Merryweather, pricking her thumb. "Oh, dear, This is all so awkward without magic at all. All right, said Flora, giving in. If you're going to do it right. She pulled out her hidden magic wand and touched the cottage lightly here and there. How magically lovely it looked. The three good fairies could hardly wait for Briar Rose to come home from the woods. They were so pleased with all their plans for the happy day to come. When at last she came and the little women saw her face light up with joy, they felt repaid for all their magic work. "Oh, how perfectly lovely the world is today," cried Briar Rose. And the little good fairies, having no idea that love had come into their dear one's life, thought she was speaking of their beautiful decorations, which, truth to tell, Briar Rose had not even seen. "We planned it as a surprise for you," said Flora, "for your birthday, dear." "You planned? But how could you?" said Briar Rose, thinking of her meeting with the handsome young man, of course. "Oh, we have certain magic powers, my dear," Merryweather explained. You mean he wasn't real?" cried poor little Briar Rose. Bit by bit, it all came out, and the good fairies loving care of her to save her from the evil fairy's curse. Briar Rose listened with wonder in her heart to the story of her babyhood as Princess Aurora and of the palace home to which she would return tomorrow on her 16th birthday. "Tomorrow?" she cried. "Oh, no, I can't go. I can't go back to the palace tomorrow." The dear fairies thought she was grieving for them, and they were deeply touched. And when Briar Rose realized all they had given up for her, living in hiding for her for almost 16 years, giving up their magic powers for all that time, she knew she could never disappoint them. She must hide her secret love away in her heart and go back to the palace as a dutiful daughter. "And there's a handsome prince waiting for you too, my dear," Fauna reminded her. But what was that to Briar Rose, whose true love would be waiting in the woods? Prince Philip, though she would never have dreamed it, was having quite a difficult time. He went straight home from the Woodland Glen and told his father of his newfound love. Good King Hubert had always been such a kind and understanding father that Philip was sure he would rejoice with him now. But no. "Ridiculous, my boy," King Hubert cried. "You've been betrothed for 16 years to King Stephen's daughter, Princess Aurora, the loveliest girl in the world." "Why have I never seen this Princess Aurora?" asked Philip. "She's been hidden away to avoid an evil spell, but she'll be home tomorrow on her 16th birthday, and you and I will be at her hand to arrange the wedding there and then." "Not I," Philip insisted. "My heart and hand are promised to the loveliest girl in the world. No princess shall win me away from the little maiden in the woods. Sorry, father, that's all I can say. I cannot obey at this time." Alas, a bitter quarrel grew up, and at the end Prince Philip gave up all his right to the throne and stamped out of the castle into the woods to find his way to the meeting place and wait for Briar Rose. Briar Rose did not come. Instead, the next afternoon, dressed in royal robes, she stood on a balcony of her father's castle, watching the joyous people below celebrate her homecoming. Everyone was so happy that no one saw the grim shadow of a hawk against the sky. It was Maleficent's hawk, and off he wheeled to take his evil mistress the news. At the height of the celebration, Princess Aurora could stand it no longer. She felt that she must slip away to the meeting place in the woods. In a dark castle hallway, she met a little old woman, Maleficent in disguise. "What's the trouble, dearie?" The little old woman was friendly and led the sad princess to her tower room. There Aurora told the story of her own true love waiting at the woodland meeting place. Outside the castle, sunset colors glowed. The power of Mistress Maleficent's spell was nearly gone. With sunset, it would end. She had no time to lose. "I can help you, my sweet," she whispered winningly. "Make a wish, any wish that is dearest to your heart, and touch the spindle of my magic spinning wheel. Then all your problems will be solved." Princess Aurora took a deep breath. She made her wish of her true love, of course, closed her eyes, and touched the spindle. And with a crash and a puff of smoke, the evil prophecy came to pass. Princess Aurora lay deep in a magic sleep. Meanwhile, the three good fairies had missed their charge. They had started through the castle, searching for her through the royal bedroom suites, at last up the dim little winding stairs that led to the tiny tower room with the three good fairies. There, they found their princess fast in the fatal sleep. "Oh, we have failed! Oh, we have failed!" they cried. "There is just one thing we can do to help," the sensible Flora said. "We can put the whole castle around her to sleep, so that when the kiss of the true love awakens her, as we hope that may have happened somehow, everything can go on as if it were today." So that is what they did. They put the whole castle under a sleeping spell. King Stephen and King Hubert on their terrace, the queen in her room, the cooks in the kitchens and courtiers in the court, all the guests slept, and the birds dozed off on the roof. Everyone slept but Prince Philip, for he was far from the palace, deep in the woods, waiting for the meeting place. For the hours he waited with growing sense of gloom, until at last a hooded figure approached. "I can lead you to your lady," said a voice. Philip did not know it was Maleficent, the fairy of darkness, of course, so he leaped to the castle of the Sleeping Beauty, but to her own dark haunt, not the castle of Sleeping Beauty. There, when he was imprisoned in Maleficent's prison. And she told him the tale of Sleeping Beauty, Aurora, or the Dawn, who was his own true love. Poor Philip. He schemed and he struggled to escape, but the power of Mistress Maleficent was strong. And while he lay in prison, seasons rolled around and a forest of thorns grew up around the castle to hold back knights and princes and such who had come to try to rescue the princess for their own. At last came a day when Maleficent dozed, and Philip escaped. Yea, it was a bare escape. The dogs were at the heels as he reached the shelter of the great woods. He broke free at last and made his way to the cottage of the three good fairies. Poor dears, they were sad as sad could be, for they had almost given up their search for Princess Aurora's true love. But their kind hearts still warmed to the weary young man. They took him in and cared for him, and when he was rested, he told them his tale. How delighted they were! They helped him creep up to the hedge of the thorns. The thorn hedge parted before him. He strode straight to the castle walls. But Maleficent's hawk saw the hedge give way and flew screaming off with the news. In a trice, the prince found himself face to face with a dreadful enemy, which changed it from its wherever he was about to face and strike. At last it appeared as a fire-snorting dragon. Now the power of love strengthened the prince's arm, and he lunged with his sword at the creature's neck, and the evil spirit lay dead at his feet. In the castle, the victor ran, and following directions the good fairies had given him, Prince Philip swiftly found his way up to the tiny tower room. There lay Princess Aurora, deep in her magic sleep. The prince knelt beside her, and at his kiss, she opened her lovely eyes. Around them, they heard the castle stirring into life. The cooks and the courtiers awoke. The Queen and King Stephen awoke. King Hubert awoke and was trying, as he had been for years before, when they all fell magically asleep, to explain his trouble with his son Prince Philip. When, to his amazement, the son Prince Philip came, when to his amazing heart he saw his wonderful Prince Philip with the happy, blushing princess on his arm. What happiness bloomed in the old castle then, as wedding plans hastened along. And after the wedding, you may be sure they lived happily evermore. Yay! Well, that's it for today. We'll see you next time.